Thank you kindly for joining us on a Thursday afternoon in downtown Charlottesville. Day before Halloween, 2 days removed from November. What is that? 40, less than 2 months from Christmas. Jeez Louise. New Year's right around the corner. A lot to cover on the program as we are smack dab in the middle of the final quarter of 2025. We are now at that point of the real estate calendar where unless a house goes under contract like today, tomorrow, this weekend, certainly by close of business next week, you're looking at a pretty finalized snapshot of what 2025 in the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors footprint is looking like from a data standpoint. Because homes that go pending, much later in November are going to reflect on the 2026 modeling and the 2026 sales data and sales reports. So we're going to have a snapshot, and we'll talk about that probably in the middle to the end of next week of what 2025 is going to look like from a real estate vantage point on the I Love CVille Show and, of course, on Real Talk with Keith Smith. Tomorrow's episode of Real Talk with Keith Smith will not feature me. It will not feature Keith Smith, nor will it feature Judah Wickower. Instead, on Real Talk with Keith Smith, tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. right here on the I Love CVille Network, you will see Batman in spandex with mask on. Batman is not just protecting the streets of Gotham, but Batman is protecting the very mean streets of Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Central Virginia. You will also, ladies and gentlemen, see the boy wonder, Robin. You'll see Captain America. You'll see Alfred. And the chatter in superhero circles is maybe a villain will be on set as well. Early scuttlebutt has Hellboy making his way into the I Love CVille studio tomorrow, but that's just scuttlebutt at this point. We know for certain that Batman, the Boy Wonder, Captain America, and Alfred will be on a dial and network that's most important to you, and that's, of course, the I Love CVille Show and the I Love CVille Network. We remind you that there's a significant football game on the horizon on Saturday on national television, ESPN2. Virginia is a favorite, but that number is dropping. What was the line for the Virginia game? Is that in the headline that in the pre-production meeting that we talked about it all? I know there are 15 in the country. It's a 3:45 kickoff. It's on ESPN2 against Cal, where UVA goes across the country. That line has moved. The Standardsville odds makers. Do we know what the Standardsville odds makers have that line at right now?
You said minus 3.5?
The Standardsville odds makers, yes, have the Virginia, Cal, Berkeley line as the Wahoo's a 3.5-point favorite. The Standardsville odds makers have the line open at 4.5. It's since dropped. This is a trap game for Virginia. This is a trap game for the Wahoos as Tony Elliott tries to make a push for the ACC championship. And Virginia has a clear path to not only the ACC championship, but the college football playoff, 12 teams dancing on the national stage to be the best football team in the country, and the corresponding glory and legacy that accompanies such a stage and such an honor. Virginia travels to California Saturday. Then they finish the season with Wake Forest at Scott Stadium, at Duke in Durham, and then Virginia Tech at Scott Stadium. There are 4 games left for Virginia, the 15th ranked team in the nation, who is 7-1 overall and 4-0 in conference play. Judah Wickower, if we can go to the studio camera, I'll welcome you on a 2-shot before we give some props and accolades to Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes, just class people, Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes. My friend, the Thursday before Friday, your favorite day of the week, I think payday is tomorrow?
I think you're right.
At the Miller organization. So it is your absolute favorite day of the week. My friend, before we get to some Oak Valley love, which headline most intrigues you today and why?
I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. We've got plans for Gordonsville to take over some portions of Orange that have fallen through. We've also got we've got the elections coming up. The races have really closed the gap in the last few weeks, and it's pretty interesting. I'm eager to find out how they turn out.
Which race are you following most closely? Statewide, local? Where are you most intrigued?
I'd say I'm intrigued with the Spanberger Earl Sears fight, considering that one has gone from quite a gap in the numbers, the polling numbers, to actually being kind of close now. Not a squeaker, but Earl Sears has made up a lot of ground. Obviously, I'm also interested in the school board, the Albemarle County School Board race. I'm friends with Jim Dillenbeck, go to church with him. He's really pushed to get on the school council. I know it means a lot to him, and I think he would be great for the county.
I had a conversation yesterday with a mover and shaker about the Spanberger Wilson Earl Sears race. It's significant for a number of reasons. Obviously, it's for the governor of Virginia. From a University of Virginia standpoint, there is very reputable and direct talk that if Spanberger gets a win, and it's expected that she will win, that one of her first moves in office will be to potentially replace Rachel Sheridan as rector of the UVA Board of Visitors, and it may also cause Porter Wilkinson, the vice rector, to kind of come in the Spanberger crossfire as well. So from a University of Virginia standpoint, 5 seats Spanberger has at her disposal in early the first quarter, and potentially a move to decapitate Rachel Sheridan and Porter Wilkinson as rector and vice rector. And in that scenario, you have a completely different BOV, and whose main focus at this point is navigating the next hire at the University of Virginia from a president's standpoint, a number of other prominent and prestigious positions, and the navigation of this white-collar racketeering lawsuit against the Kenner Prize and UVA Health. If you have yet to read the lawsuit, it is available online, the documentation. I spent even more time today looking at it, and goodness gracious, there's some really grossly concerning storylines, alleged allegations, infractions in that lawsuit. I mean, it's gross, and I have to use the words alleged, but it's absolutely gross. Philip Dow says he'll be working the polls for Jim Dillenbeck, Judah.
Nice.
Vanessa Parkhills is watching the program. It leads me to ask you, the viewer and listener, this question. Ray Cadell is watching the program as well. He says, interesting time in music and real estate. Absolutely, from a real estate standpoint. And Ray, we're going to know probably at the end of next week what the sales data for 2025 is going to look like for the car footprint. Maybe in some cases you could stretch it to what? What do you think, Ray? To the 15th, 16th, 17th of November? But with the holidays, a lot of closing time and runway is lost. So unless a home is going pending in the next week to 10 days, you're probably looking at it closing in 2026 and not 2025. Curious of your take, Ray Cadell. You've been in this game we call real estate for a generation plus. What you make of the current market? Balance, sellers, buyer, standstill, quicksand, upside, downside. What it could look like into 2026 as rates potentially drop, time will tell. Cadell, I'm curious of your take. Which margin of victory is more significant? Spanberger's over Winsome Earl Sears, Fred Missel over Scott Smith, Leah Puryear over Jim Dillenbeck, Jason Mayares over Jay Jones. You got to think Miari's the incumbent, the Republican, especially with the Jane Jones text message saga, where he basically is texting other people that he wants people shot and killed, including their children, that Jay Jones is a significant underdog. Spanberger, clear-cut favorite.
Yeah.
Missile, clear-cut favorite over Smith. Puryear, clear-cut favorite over Dylan Beck. Which margin of victory is the most significant? Which margin of victory is the least significant? Election day is Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Your thoughts, Jim?
What about Reed?
I mean, I'm less inclined to follow that race because it's such a I don't want to call it inconsequential. I mean, the lieutenant governor is window dressing when it comes to Virginia politics.
Could he not pose problems to Spanberger if she takes it and he takes it?
I don't see that.
You don't think so?
No. Of the ones I outlined, which is the greatest margin and the least margin of victory?
Oh, man. That's a tough call. I'd say Spanberger is probably the most going to have the largest effect. Whether it's Spanberger or
which
Earl
margin of
Sears.
victory votes-wise is the greatest? Spanberger beating Winsome Earl Sears, Missile over Smith, Miari's over Jay Jones, Puryear over Dylan Beck. Who wins by the most margin? Who wins by the least margin, do you think?
I think Missile gets the largest margin over Smith.
Missile over Smith in the Samuel Miller District, the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors? Why you base that? Just the history of Albemarle County?
Yeah.
I'm probably inclined to agree with you on that one. The latest polls show Spanberger's ahead of 7 points over Winsome Earl Sears.
That
gap
that I saw.
That's the last one I saw as well. That gap has narrowed considerably. Scott Smith, while he out fundraised Missile in the latest fundraising report released,
He's got a Sisyphean uphill battle.
Yeah, he's got a run in Albemarle County that is not a run that I would want anyone to take. Jim Hingley pushes back on my lieutenant governor. Lieutenant governor is just window dressing. He says the LG could be important as a tiebreaker in a closely divided Senate. I get that. Historically, how about if I use these terms, Jim? Historically, the lieutenant governor window dressing, is that more in your acceptable and your accepted commentary for me? Historically, window dressing, is that fair? Look, how Reed was treated, terrible, right?
Yeah.
How he was treated, absolutely
doubt.
terrible. But the talk, and he agrees, historically it's window dressing. But the focus on this election cycle is Attorney General, Governor. Clear-cut focus. Not nearly the same attention for Lieutenant Governor.
Yeah.
And in Albemarle County, with Sally Duncan crushing Dave Shreve by double digits, which was predicted on this program for the Jack Jewett seat on the Board of Supervisors, there's one race of merit. Albemarle County Board of Supervisors, the only race, and it's a Republican versus a Democrat. I love the narrative that you have a competitive race in Albemarle County for the board with a Republican and a Democrat. Historically, it is lopsided Democrat. Ken Boyd, the last Republican to serve on the Board of Visitors, on the Board of Supervisors in Albemarle County. He was the Rio District, the financial planner, Ken Boyd. I see Missile winning by double digits as well. If Sally Duncan beats Dave Shreve in landslide capacity double digits, you'd have to say at least at this point on paper that Missile's going to win in double-digit capacity. And I have not seen anything optics-wise, campaign-wise, strategy-wise that would suggest anything other. Like, what has Smith done? He's a likable guy. He's a likable guy. But what has Scott Smith done to narrow the gap here with Fred Missile?
Yeah.
What aggressive maneuvering, what political maneuvering, what political science strategery has he done to narrow the gap? And if Missile's on the board right there, you have another very Democratic board. And for those that are pro-green space, for those that are potentially concerned about infrastructure and quality of life, your next thought is Maybe Mike Pruitt gets off the board by winning the 5th district in Congress. But even in that race, he's a tremendous underdog, despite his fundraising success. And Pruitt's doing the best kind of fundraising. Mike Pruitt's doing micro fundraising. He's got a boatload of many donors contributing a little bit of money to his campaign. Way better than having 1 or 2 big donors contributing money to your campaign, because it shows the power of the populace. It's one thing to have Sonia Smith and her man strike hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to your campaign. It's another thing altogether to have thousands of people contribute micro donations, because it shows that you have power and numbers in the populace in your corner. A lot to cover with an election. My favorite time of year, 4 or 5 days away? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days away? I'm going to be bringing, my wife and I are going to be bringing our 2 boys to the polls with the "We Voted" sticker on our chest proudly on Tuesday. The conversation that we had from yesterday, the feedback significant with Liberty Mills and the closing of an iconic business because a few rotten apples spoil an entire barrel. You've had 24 hours to reflect on this, and I know thoughts are on your mind over here about what we talked about, and may not had a chance to talk because I certainly was monologuing a lot yesterday. Give me what's on your mind with Liberty Mills and that closing.
Well, I think the news of Liberty Mills farm closing for the the season and potentially not opening again. From what I've seen since news came out yesterday, it sounds like even if they do decide to stay open, they would not be managing the business from here on out. And I don't know. I think it's probably a slim thread that they'd actually open it and find someone to take that on for them. But what's interesting is I've heard that a lot of other business owners, small business owners, have I don't want to say come out of the woodwork, but they've raised their voices to say that this farm is not the only place that has encountered this type of behavior and had to make these types of decisions when it comes to being happy to run a business and having to preside over the safety of yourself, your family, and especially your employees.
And that's sad.
Yeah, that is sad. And that's on us as a society. I'm not going to say that we're worse today than we were 20 years ago or 50 years ago. Everybody's got their own metric by which they would measure those types of things, but it certainly is more visible with with social media, with Google reviews and Yelp reviews. And it can't be easy as a small business owner to have to navigate those waters of people that are sometimes self-important, sometimes what's the word I'm looking for? Entitled, and it doesn't take a whole lot of that to ruin someone's passion.
What's scary is the business owner might be even more fearful of the retribution digitally on social media and on the internet than in-person physical violence.
Yeah.
Think about that, what I just said, viewers and listeners, that a Liberty Mills farm is more a Maru, and I don't know the circumstances. I do know with one of the players of the Maru situation, and is Ty Cooper, and I respect Ty Cooper. I know Ty Cooper. I find Ty Cooper to be a man of integrity. Okay.
Yeah, I would never guess that he was someone that would bring false charges against a business.
I know Ty Cooper, who is on social media in viral vocal fashion saying the Maru restaurant on the downtown mall was racist against him. I respect Ty Cooper, and I know him. The Liberty Mills farm situation, it's an almost a similar situation, but in an opposite situation, where in the Liberty Mills Farm situation, you have customers that are alleging that a 70-year-old and a 63-year-old that owned Liberty Mills Farm were racist against them. The historical narrative on social media and in reviews would suggest otherwise, as would the narrative of boots on the street at the scene, including multiple police sheriffs who had to intervene, right? What we've learned here, and this is crazy to say, is the business owners in both circumstances, physical violence in person was almost more welcome than the nasty attacks digitally and socially that will follow them much longer, have a much longer tail than physical violence from a short tail in person. Agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, I think I would tend to agree. I think that, in the Maru case, I haven't heard anything to indicate that that violence was ever mentioned or a part of the problem.
No, that definitely is not a part of the problem. Definitely not a part of the problem with Maru. With Liberty Mills, absolutely.
Liberty Mills, yeah, there was talk of having phones shoved in faces. There was a lot of yelling, and at least one of the teenage employees left the area of the people in question because they felt threatened. A teenager.
Conan Owen watching the program. Sir Speedy of Central Virginia's Conan Owen. If you have a logo and you need an application for it, signage. Window decals, hanging signs in hallways, signage on lobby marquees in commercial buildings, direct mail, lanyards. The banner behind me, Sir Speedy of Central Virginia, is who you call. He will get it right. His firm will get it right. And Conan Owen is a Darden graduate. He owns a business locally that is a proud ambassador of Charlottesville and Central Virginia, does a lot from a charity and philanthropy standpoint as well. He makes this comment: how is Virginia 4-0? I started the show by talking UVA and 4-0. NC State is in the Atlantic Coast Conference. How's UVA 4-0? They lost to NC State. He also says, I guess the same was SMU, Cal, and Stanford in the Atlantic Coast Conference. These schools should have their geography department forfeit their accreditation. Well, Conan, the NC State game was technically considered an out-of-conference game. While NC State is in the ACC, it was scheduled as an out-of-conference game, and that's why UVA is unblemished in conference play. It was officially designated before the season started as a non-ACC game. And I get your point about Cal, SMU, and Stanford being so far away from the Mid-Atlantic and the East Coast, and how are they in the Atlantic Coast Conference? This is the world we live in of big-time money in college football. Where the Big Ten, the Big 12, the SEC no longer have the blue blood OG ties of a generation or two ago. It's basically going to come down to three consolidated conferences, maybe four of power. Juan Sarmiento is watching in the Dominican Republic. Juan Sarmiento's photo on screen. He says, what happened to Liberty Mills closing is tragic. In a strange world when you can't have a freaking corn maze. Yeah, it's a strange world where the owners of a business choose to throw in the towel as opposed to working a business that they've worked for the last 16 years.
Yeah.
It's a sad world. Jason Noble watching the program. Have you all seen the obnoxious gerrymandering push the left is trying to make in Virginia? I'm not optimistic for any Republican in Albemarle County ever. He's talking redistricting here, Judah, if you want to add a little context.
Yeah, this is something the Democrats have been pushing. The Republicans have been suing to stop. I don't know that it's as bad as some people are making it. Not that I think that it's a good thing. You know, this is part of the ongoing battle between Republicans and Democrats. What this is going to turn out to be is not necessarily that they're going to redistrict. They did pass the constitutional amendment in a 51-42 vote, but the amendment would allow the Old Dominion to redraw its House map if if another state redraws its lines for a reason that isn't part of the mandated redistricting process, which happens after every 10-year U.S. Census or in response to litigation over its present map. And this would stay in effect through October 31 of 2030. So this isn't the Democrats saying that they are going to redistrict. This is kind of like a nukes in a Cold War. We've got ours, you've got yours. If you pull the trigger on yours, we're going to pull the trigger on ours. Whether you think that's okay or not, is up for debate.
Well done. Deep Throat. His comment, sort of funny that we all agree that many people recognize that businesses have to deal with a ton of total psychos and their online retribution via scathing review sites. And then we take online review sites seriously. Seems like a contradiction. People should put near zero faith in aggregating ratings of sites like Yelp. Garbage in, garbage out, 100%. And we're in this business. One of our businesses is brand management. I highlighted this on yesterday's show. Yelp is a review site that is essentially extorting good and bad reviews. They have sales rep, and there are lawsuits that you could find online against Yelp about this practice. Class action lawsuits. Just do a basic Google search if you like a little more intelligence of what's happening. Yelp will have sales representatives call a small business and say, you have 200 reviews online. 15% of those 200, a very small percentage, are mediocre or negative reviews. If you don't pay us advertising revenue, and they'll send them a rate card. If you don't agree to this rate card, we are going to position your mediocre and negative reviews at the top of your Yelp profile and bury your good reviews so the average Joe and the average Jennifer only see the mediocre and the negative reviews. And we're going to keep those negative reviews at the top of your Yelp profile in our Yelp algorithm until you agree to partner with us from an advertising standpoint. That is the practice that Yelp is utilizing, ladies and gentlemen. It's a version of extortion right there. The alternative to that is ignoring the Google reviews, the Yelp reviews, the Facebook reviews, and keyboard warrior commentary. The challenge with that is you would almost have to completely unplug from social, mobile, and digital. My wife today, we were in the family Ford Explorer earlier today. We had a parent-teacher conference. It's parent-teacher conference time for the parents that are going through that now. Some of the private schools are doing that. And on the way to a parent-teacher conference, she mentioned to me that Apple earbuds, these earbuds right here, that I have in my phone. I'm putting them in my ears now. If you look at the screen, viewers and listeners, there's now research out or some science out that these earbuds, Judah, are way potentially more harmful for us as humans than the earbuds that have wires associated with them, because the earbuds that have wires associated with them somehow are transmitting much less like stimulus or much less whatever to the brain than these earbuds.
Radio waves.
Whatever it is. And some speculation, early speculation is these unwired earbuds are more harmful to humans than the wired headphones of when we were a kid. I mean, remember a Walkman or a CD player? Yeah, and we had the huge wire plugged into the Walkman or the CD player?
Yep.
Yeah, that now is proving to be the safer way to listen to music, early expectation. I guess the point is technology and innovation, while done for convenience, eventually is going to erode humanity in some capacity.
Does that mean in 20 years we're going to start having cases of ear cancer?
Terrifying research that's online, and it's in the absolute first or second inning. But I could see it. And I wear these 10 hours a day, legitimately 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday. They're always in my ear because I'm taking calls. You see it, take 20 or 30 calls a day. We saw this recently. We're not going to, say with whom, right? Another crazy thing that's happening is the cornering of the market, the cornering of the market with big box brands when it comes to digital shopping. Big box brands like Amazon and Walmart are cornering e-commerce shopping online.
Oh, they could not have asked for more than they got
With COVID.
during the pandemic.
With COVID, 100%. You're 100% right.
That was such a boon.
It was
to
a
them.
perfect storm of changing human behavior. And what's happened now, this is collateral damage of COVID. I talk about collateral damage of COVID all the time and how I'm seeing it on Main Street, how I'm seeing it on Preston, how I'm seeing it on West Main, how I'm seeing it on Park, how I'm seeing it on the UVA corner, on the downtown mall in Midtown. Walmart and Amazon have opened up their platforms to vendors. And now you have local vendors selling their merchandise and their SKUs within the Walmart and Amazon shopping experience, right?
Yeah.
And Walmart and Amazon, what they do to leverage engagement, what they do to encourage engagement of vendors is they say,
we'll help you make money.
we have significant traffic here, which will lead to immediacy in sales, as opposed to you going through the organic battle of attracting said traffic, the ad spend, the effort, the sweat to get the traffic to your respective website.
Yeah.
The challenge with selling your local goods, your local commodities, your local SKUs within Amazon and Walmart's portal of sale, their app, their websites, is the margin that's left is 65 to 70% less than the margin that you can make at your physical storefront or if you sell it directly online on your own platform.
Yeah.
And the challenge you have is how do you navigate this world of driving incremental sales, but doing it in a way that preserves the business in the long term. And the more that you drive incremental sales through an Amazon and a Walmart in the short term to capture quick, easy, low-hanging fruit revenue, the more that you're strengthening those platforms for the long term, which could work against you on the back end.
Yeah.
So we've become this world, and COVID and the pandemic amplified this. We've become this world of immediacy and convenience. And this world of immediacy and convenience, I want it now, I want it at the cheapest price, and I want it at my doorstep, has resulted in a lack of human connection. And because the human connection, the experience of doing something in person, face to face, has diminished, the consumer is less likely to show empathy to the brand or business it's looking to pay or it's expecting a service from. And when that brand or business doesn't have consumer empathy or patience or connection like it did before COVID, you see these fallouts like with the Liberty Mills Farm scenario, or you see these fallouts where the average Joe and the average Jennifer just wants the product on their doorstep at the cheapest price point as possible, no matter what the damning impact it could have of buying it from a Fortune 50 big box brand and not their neighbor down the street.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's also an issue with. It's interesting. Linguistically, language we tend to shorten things as they become more often used. And there was an old saying, the customer is always right in matters of taste. And we've shortened that to the customer is always right. And we've now taken it to mean that the customer is always right. But that's not what the original quote is, that so many people seem to believe in their heart of hearts that they are always right when they go into a place of business. That is not the case. It was meant to be that the customer is always right in matters of taste. If you want a blue car, you want a blue car. You can't argue that. But now it's come to mean that if you want something cheaper, if you want special treatment, then you're entitled to it. And I think entitlement is destroying businesses.
Entitlement is destroying mankind. Is destroying us.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the customer is always right. That is like you're saying, that is not actually the case.
No.
If you're running a business and you want to keep it in operation for the long term, the customer is not always right.
Exactly.
The customer is right within the parameters of the business that you are running.
Yeah.
It's not carte blanche, the customer is always right of what their expectation is.
Yeah.
One of the hardest lessons I've learned in being self-employed for 20 years is the value of the word no. Routinely, we almost did this last week, and you talked me out of it. And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
And we're not going to utilize who it is.
Mm-hmm.
But last week, I straight up said, no, we're not going to do that project. It was a, nice payday, but it was, how would you characterize this?
I mean, from my perspective, it was an insane turnaround.
Yeah, well, of course. How would you characterize the project? And after 20 years, I basically was like, no, we're not doing that work. And you're like, no, I think we should consider doing this work. And you explain why. And it started off going the way of, see, I told you so, Judah. And then in the middle, it was like, see, I told you so, Judah. But in the end, it ended up being, all right. It was an all right project to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
But
there's always a question of, is the customer going to insist on the rightness of their requests, even if those requests continue ad nauseum, and you get to the point where it's like, wait a minute, we penciled this out as being worth it to do this project for this much, and if the end point gets pushed. If the goal line gets pushed further and further and further away because the customer believes they're right and they want more, or they want something changed, or they want something changed again, and the customer, when realizing that they are pushing the goal line over and over, pushing it further and further away, changing the playing field, then utilizes tactics like, well, I need this to be able to survive, need this for my business to grow. No, I can't do anything additional. A little sympathy, empathy from you, woe is me, pull on my heartstrings type deal. And with each push of that goal line, the margin gets slimmer.
Exactly. And now I've gotten to the point after 20 years of doing this where I just from the beginning say no. And the tug on the heartstrings doesn't have the same impact it once did. Nor does the need to chase every dollar like 20 years ago when you first started, because not everyone's created the same. Comments coming in quickly. John Blair, his photo on screen. I live in the Samuel Miller district. Our house has received 11 Fred Missile mailers in the past 2 weeks. Nothing from Scott Smith. My wife does not follow politics very closely. She doesn't even know Scott Smith is running. I think you're correct. Fred Missile, 60%. Scott Smith, 40%. Yeah, I think so too, John Blair. I think the Scott Smith-Fred Missile race potentially could be even more lopsided than Dave Shreve, Sally Duncan. The best prop bet out there for Election Day and the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors is not an over-under with a 10% margin, Missile beating Smith by 10%. I'm taking the over on that. The better prop bet out there is this. Does Fred Missile beat Scott Smith by a larger margin of victory than Sally Duncan beat Dave Shreve?
Well, Duncan and Shreve were both
Democrats.
Yeah,
but Shreve was perceived to be a center aisle Democrat.
Yeah.
And had a professional affiliation, had a job that some associated with extremely right wing.
I'm saying you're probably right though.
You're saying Missile wins in a larger margin than Duncan beat Shreve.
Yeah, I'm saying you're probably right about
Yeah,
that.
I think I would, if I had to take a prop bet, because it's Democrat versus Republican.
Yeah.
And Albemarle County is not even going to know who the candidates are. They're just going to vote DNR.
100%.
Especially in a governor's race where it's a DNR vote. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. John Blair has this comment. He says, it's interesting you mentioned the online shopping dominance of the big boys. Virginia elects its attorney general next week. The AG's office has an antitrust unit. Just something to think about before people head to the polls. My standpoint, the attorney general race is a clear cut who you have to vote. What Jay Jones did text message wise is inexcusable, disgusting. It's disturbing. A vote for Jay Jones is a vote for lunacy, psychosis,
voting for someone
unhinged,
someone that could even say those things.
Right, right. And then putting him in writing.
Yeah.
Which is worse than saying.
I mean, it's bad enough that you find out somebody actually thinks things like that.
Yeah. Kate Sharp's watching the program, the Queen of Ivy. For what it's worth, both Scott Smith and Fred Missile door knocked at my house. That's a response from Kate to John Blair. Both Kate and John live in the Samuel Miller district. I know which neighborhoods both live in, both fantastic neighborhoods. I will say that John's neighborhood has more doors and density and potential voters than Kate, just because there's more houses where John lives. I'm not going to say where it is. So the point that John's making, that Smith did not door knock his neighborhood, is an indication of maybe not knowing the lay of the land versus Kate's neighborhood because of volume of houses and potential voters. I get this text message from Lauren and Ivy, who highlights a link from techtimes.com. More than 250 scientists warn EMF from wireless devices such as Apple AirPods poses cancer risk. More than 250 scientists have signed a petition calling for International Public Health Organization to create stronger guidelines on wireless devices. In a letter addressed to the heads of the United Nations and the World Health Organization, a group of scientists expressed concern over the public's increased exposure to non-ionizing electromagnetic fields, EMF, generated by electric and wireless devices. They cited scientific studies that showed the ill effects of EMF, which include increased cancer risk, genetic damages, neurological disorders, and learning deficits, among others. And Apple AirPods, the main culprit, which uses Bluetooth technology and emits EMF radiation. I literally have these in my ears like 8 to 10 hours a day, Monday through Friday, which is terrifying.
That's interesting. I was, last time I went on vacation, I was driving my mom's car a little bit. She had this USB thing plugged into her car. I'm like, what the heck is this? And apparently it's some type of EMF blocker, protector. I don't know. But it was pretty wild. She said a lot of the newer cars are either getting them or suggesting people get them to protect themselves.
These Apple AirPods were a Christmas gift, and I used this Christmas gift more than any Christmas gift I've gotten in an extremely long time, except for maybe like a squash racket. Mm-hmm. No, I take that back. I used this Christmas gift more than any Christmas gift I've gotten in probably 10 years. I use these more than I use a squash racket, which is like an hour to 2 hours a day. Okay? So use these more than anything right here. The convenience and the quality of life improvement from these AirPods, these Apple earbuds, has been off the charts. But it goes back to my original statement. The convenience and innovation has side effects, and those side effects are humanity erosion, human connection erosion, health erosion. Mm-hmm. small business erosion, community erosion, ideology erosion, goodwill, golden rule erosion, the convenience from technology and innovation eroding all that. And ask yourself if it's a better community, if it's a better a world than pre-COVID. I still think a lot of this is a COVID collateral damage. Now, a lot of this was going to happen regardless, but it was certainly expedited.
Yeah.
Janice Boyce Trevelyan says, you do not want brain cancer, Judah.
I certainly do not.
She also says EMF blockers are available for your home as well. Lynn Snyder says, Liberty Mills is not the only farm in the area, and at what point do we as a society get off the crazy wheel? I mean, where would Sam Walton be if he shut down every single thing that upset the apple cart? I mean, it goes both ways, but if we are in the position now that people that close down and take their game home, I don't want to play with you anymore. I mean, as a business, are you not in the position to always the customer is always right? Are you not in the position to say the customer is not always right? I bet you Sam Walton, if he saw what Walmart was today, Sam Walton would be disappointed in the Walmart that he knows today. Bentonville, Arkansas, Sam Walton, who created the first Walmart, would not be happy with the Walmart he saw. It's making a boatload of money. It's one of the most powerful companies in the world. There's no question. But it's putting out of business the Sam Waltons.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Walmart today would have put Sam Walton out of business. Think about that.
No doubt.
William McChesney, welcome to the broadcast. We appreciate you, William. Print, radio, and television, welcome to the broadcast. All right, we'll close the program with this, and we appreciate all the viewers and listeners that are watching the show. Watch the game on Saturday, Judah. I know it's not your cup of tea, but 3:45, they get this ball game. It's downhill to an ACC championship. 3 games left: Wake Forest, Duke, and Virginia Tech. 2 of those at home. Front runners to play in an ACC championship with a berth in the college football playoff on the horizon.
What are the chances of those in those last games?
I mean, I would imagine you beat Cal, you're favored in every other game except maybe Duke, which is a toss-up pick 'em. And that's only because it's at Durham. I'm not going to say it's a slam dunk to beat Virginia Tech at home because of the history against the Hokies. But if
Still pretty amazing.
If there's any year where Virginia Tech is going to be a double-digit favorite to win at home, according to the Standardsville odds makers, it would be this year. We still know the history with the Hokies. It's 3:45 kick, ESPN2, ladies and gentlemen. We'll give some love to Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. They've been in business for 61 years. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. Online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com, located on East High Street. Support the businesses you want to see make it another 61 years, and this is without question one of them. John Vermillion and Andrew Vermillion have run this business for 3 generations, and their family, the Vermillions, have lived in Elmore County for 5 generations. Free local delivery.
Yep.
Charlottesville Sanitary Supply on East High Street and charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. I highlight our friends at Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes as well. I talked about them at the beginning of the show. I've seen firsthand what they do with custom hardscapes. It is gorgeous. And the return on investment at a custom hardscape at your house is not just financial, it's experiential, it's quality of life, it's memories, it's love, it's lasting. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes, ladies and gentlemen, the hardscape vendor for Charlottesville, Albemarle, and Central Virginia. Tomorrow at 10:15 a.m., Batman, the Boy Wonder Robin, Captain America, Alfred, and perhaps a villain. I think it's Hellboy, but I'm not certain. I do know that the Cape Crusaders will be here as well as Alfred.
Hellboy's not a villain.
Hellboy's not a villain?
No.
Hellboy's a good boy?
Yeah,
What's
for the most
Hellboy's gang affiliation or group affiliation?
It's BPRD.
What's BPRD?
BRPD. I'd have to look it up. It's,
Okay.
It was.
Then maybe it's not Hellboy because I'm told we're gonna have a villain. You would think with a name like Hellboy, he'd be a villain. I don't know the as
kind
you
of
do.
teeters on the edge at times. but I don't think we need to get into the details.
Okay.
He's a good guy, though.
Okay. Maybe Hellboy. Time will tell. That's at 10:15, and then we close the show with the I Love CVille show tomorrow at 12:30. For Judah Wickauer, I'm Jerry Miller. So long, everybody.